Hello everyone, friends. I'm glad to see you on my channel. In this video, I'd like to go over two indicators with you. The first indicator is the stochastic oscillator, and the second indicator is the RSI, the relative strength index. Also, I want to remind you friends that in the description of this video, you can find a link to my Telegram channel. There's a lot of useful content for you there. Indicator settings, signals, my trading setups, and much more. Please check it out and subscribe. Now let's get straight to analyzing these indicators. So we already have both indicators open on the screen. Let's start with the first one. This is the stochastic oscillator. Actually, you can find videos about both indicators on my channel where I analyze them in detail and we set them up together. Now let me briefly explain how it's done. We go to the indicators tab and select the indicator we need. In this case, it's the stochastic. Next, we see two lines appear like this. We go in, click on the pencil icon and select the key period. I'm showing you my settings. Here you can decide for yourself what is more convenient for your trading. For me, I set the key period to 9 and the DI period to 3. I don't change the other values. And in the style settings, I always set both lines to 2 pixels. A couple of words about how it works. The stochastic is like a thermometer for the price. It shows where we are, at the top or bottom of the price range over the past few days. If the lines are above 80, the market is overbought. If they're below 20, the market is oversold. Also, be sure to watch for the crossover of the two lines, the blue one and this orange one. Accordingly, the blue one is the key period line and the orange one is the die period. Now let's move on to the RSI. This is the relative strength index. This is my favorite indicator. I always use it to determine whether the market is overheated or not. Again, go to the indicators. It's all very simple here. Click on RSI and you'll see this kind of line, this kind of chart appear. Click on the pencil icon. I set the period to 10 and accordingly I don't change anything else here. Here's a couple more words about the RSI. Let me show you visually how to use it. Although I repeat, all of this has already been covered. But as they say, repetition is the mother of learning. So if we see that this line is approaching the lower boundary of 30, like here for example, it tells us that the instrument is extremely oversold. Conversely, as in this part, if it approaches the 70 line, it means we expect a downward movement. For example, friends, take a look here. In this section, the RSI shows us that we are overbought, and that's why we move down from here. Also, friends, we can observe the opposite situations. Here we can see that the market was oversold, this part, and as you can see, we bounce back confidently. Or for example, in this section, both the stochastic and the RSI are signaling to us. And we can also see on the chart that from this point, we moved confidently downward. So that's how they work, friends. Now let's move on to trading. Friends, let's see what the market has to offer us today. On our screen, we have the currency pair Canadian dollar to Japanese yen. We are approaching the resistance level. We can see how the key period line crosses the DI period line, and all of this is happening in the upper part of the range. The RSI shows us that we are overbought here, so I'm going to sell before it's too late. $450, 3 positions, 1 minute expiration. Let's keep watching. What is the market offering us here? Here's a good situation. Here we can enter and take 2 buy trades. Let's take a closer look at why this is happening. But once again, we are currently at the very lower part of the trading range. The stochastic indicators are clearly crossing, and the relative strength index is also at the absolute bottom, which is showing us an overbought condition, and actually I mean an oversold condition, my apologies. And accordingly, we have a level here that we should rely on. That's why I entered 2 buy trades here. Let's see how our first 3 trades will close. Excellent. It was close, as they say, but they closed in profit. Let's look at the second batch of trades and then continue trading. Here we entered a long position. Excellent. Here as well, everything closed in profit for us. Let's continue to see what's happening here. Here's a good situation. British pound to Canadian dollar. The stochastics are crossing in the upper part of the range. Accordingly, the RSI is also showing us overbought conditions. That's why I took 2 sell trades here with a 1 minute expiration. Let's keep on watching. Here's a good situation, friends. Australian dollar to Canadian dollar. We can see that the RSI is showing us oversold conditions. The stochastic with the key period is crossing the line of the DI period. All of this is happening in the lower part of the range, so here I enter buy trades. Let's watch the third set of trades. 2 positions of $150 each. How will they close for us? There are literally 7 or 8 seconds left until expiration. Excellent. Here, our trades also close in profit. And let's look at the fourth set of trades. We entered each trade with several positions. Right now we have 2 positions of $150 each. Excellent. Here as well, everything closes in profit for us. But for now, friends, I don't see any other opportunities in the market. Let me remind you, if you don't see any interesting or productive setups, if you don't see any appealing entry points in the market, I recommend that you refrain from trading. It's better to just go for a walk, take care of your own business, and return to the market, for example, in the evening. Well, friends, let me remind you that in the description you'll find a link to my Telegram channel. There's a lot of useful information for you there. There will also be a link there to register on the platform I trade on, Pocket Option. And on my YouTube channel, you'll also find plenty of interesting videos. Thank you for watching. See you in the next videos. Bye everyone.